Thank you very much, Mr. Michel. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your presentation. Hello. Today we're going to be reviewing Yes Dimensions, the concept that is going to help you to analyze financial information. Today, by the way, I have Business Central here. Hopefully you can hear me fine. If not, just please tell me. And well, we are just going to begin now with our webinar today and explaining first of all, what we do within Business Central in order to, as an accountant that I'm going to be today, we are going to be analyzing working from a single transaction to then analyze information. Because this is very important, Business Central has this specific option of working with these dimensions that are is a tool that is going to help us to slice and dice our information posted in the chart of accounts, basically. So for us, the idea in order to begin today is just to present some basic information that the accountant will see on a daily basis. And then we are going to also connect with Power BI, review how our further and advanced reports work from basics, and then to the business intelligence information. Also, I have Cortana connected, helping me today as an accountant to take some decisions because Cortana is now calculating some reports for me. So let's start now. Let me just give you a little introduction in my work area. Today, my name is an administrator because, of course, you know, I have access to all the functionality. That's it. But I have some tasks and activities to do on a daily basis. So once I open Business Central, this is what I'm going to be checking. Business Central is an environment that can be connected through by only having a browser. Let me show you my client here. This is a single browser that is just open in my work area, in my computer, or this could be open in, let me show you. This is my browser here. And I have all the pages that I use. So I'm connecting to Business Central, Power BI. I have some options for Azure, etc. So I can access as well from a tablet or my cell phone. So the idea of working with this also is that it's integrated with a lot of tools like Power BI, Geo Reports, Cortana, everything that I have just mentioned, plus of course Office and Outlook, etc., etc. Because the thing is that everything is now integrated as one single environment. So we are not working with isolated solutions. So if I just take a look at this, the activities for today, I can see that I have some overdue purchase documents that I need to pay. And this is in red, right? Cash accounts balances that well, if I just drill down a little bit into this specific amount, just for my navigation, when I can see that I have my GL accounts working and creating a total that is a percent as a KPI, let's say, right? And I just can let's take a look at the petty cash, navigate into that GL account to see the transaction. So I have invoices that I still have here that actually were posted using this account as payment, and some basic payments that I have here, different amounts, basically. So the whole idea of having these KPIs is that we can configure and we have out of the box these specific role centers, we call them, where we have information specifically for the person. For the accountant, I have my payments, my financial unprocessed payments, incoming documents, if I use OCR lectors, so I don't have to create manual invoices anymore. I just scan them and immediately they will be in my system, connected as well with a third-party softwares that actually help me to read and to scan information. Also, my accounts, I always take a look at my checking, my savings account, that is a bank account, petty cash that you have seen, and my account receivable and payables account as an example. So I just immediately see what I want to see. Then I have some charts. These charts are coming actually from Cortana. Cortana is helping me here to analyze information. Let me just give you an example. In order to then get into the dimensions with lectures of the information I'm going to give you now. If I take a look at my financial performance for today, I like to see my top 5 customers by sale value. So here we're creating just a pie chart with this specific pro forma. So Alpine Sky House is my customer that is my best customer. And here I can see also the amount for 760 in sales. All right. Then if I take a look at the finance performance for these for the following months, for January, February, and March, I want to understand how am I actually the company is working from a financial perspective. Let's take a look at the inventory operations. From what I can see, the inventory value is decreased in February and is being increased in March. This is very important for me because I'm trying to understand if I'm currently running low on inventory. And by comparing with comparison with my days of payment, well, apparently, if I just take a look, this is all information read by Cortana from my chart of accounts. And recreating a chart for me to see that my payments is 6.75, which is good. I want to have, in this example, this is a real company, this is a real demo with real information that I'm posting with to give you some insights about what we can do. So if I just continue checking, I'm gonna see my sales operations. Apparently they are increasing. So it has a correlation. My inventory for February is low because the sales operations increased, right? And this is what I'm going to be analyzing today with dimensions. My sales operation increased in February and maintained the same sort of a trend through the following months. This is something we expect in the beginning of the year. And then if I take a look at my cash flow, also read by Cortana and giving me insights about the June. So I'm now checking with colors. This is just something that I presenting for me in order to try to understand. I'm not only checking GL accounts anymore. This is BI. So I'm trying to understand how is my cash flow that I have just reviewed before, with the sales operations increasing, with my inventory getting low, etc., how now my cash flow is moving. With all the different areas, I have receivable, payables, I need to pay my taxes. The jobs is a module that in Business Central is about projects, right? And I have sales orders, right? And with all these different areas, I can see this gray line that is in the middle. That is helping me to understand that my health is being increased in overall, right? Because my receivable section, as you can see here, is very, very high, right? So you can see also the specific categories in the different modules, how they are behaving. This is what we are trying to do at the end when we implement Business Central. Right now, where does this information comes from? And we need to analyze. If I have a large number of receivables, I'm selling more and this is helping me. I'm selling in April, by the way. That's why my sales analysis, when I see my financial performance, is increased, right? So this is good. The company is good for the beginning of the year. And also I can see that some customers are here and are giving me the how is structured the increase of this sales operation. Then comes the BI. How then do we start working with those type of analysis? First of all, the idea of working here is that we have inside of Business Central a tool called Account Schedules. Then we go back from this analysis to the actual chart of accounts to see how the information is structured. Okay, I'm going to analyze account schedule is the way I'm going to see my chart of accounts, but in combination with this concept called dimensions. Let's take a look. I want to, first of all, have an overview of my P&L, because what I'm trying to understand is how my sales operations are being increased according to the cash flow analysis for the company. So I'm gonna go in depth into those figures now. Let me just making this a little bit bigger. As you can see, I'm having now another page open in my browser. This is Firefox. You can open this in Edge. It works very well, Chrome, and so on. This analysis called account schedule is just my chart of accounts in combination with my sliced information for January, February, and March. Okay, so here I can see my total income only for January at this point, where I have some income products and the sales operation for January. So in my P&L, the idea, oh, and of course, all the other accounts that I will be used to read my information. And here, not only that, of course, I would like to review the different periods. So if I just take a look, I can see other information, January, February, and March. So I can see that through the last month, I sold 716. Well, so the idea is to try to understand how this information was integrated now to provide information with the dimensions. And the dimensions is exactly this. If I take a look at this P&L, I want to also read my large, medium, and small customers. This is what I call the customer group. This is a dimension. So my customers are integrated or were grouped in a very, very easy grouping that I call large, medium, and small, right? Basically, it's just that. So if I take a look at my P&L in this analysis, I just want to see, for instance, the large business type of customers. So these are wholesalers maybe, and I'm just gonna click on OK. And this is going to give me only the figures for those customers. So for me, that's important thing about this type of information, because I'm trying to get to the point of trying to reach the actual figures that I have only for that type of customers. So I have income product sales. That will be for the products that in my company, at least I just purchase and sales, because I also assembly and I also provide services that I haven't sold in these specific months, right? But here is basically what I'm trying to understand, trying to analyze the figures that I have, and well, that's it. For me, then it will be important to see that I have a view, a filter view for those type of customers. I'm trying to do something easy to understand, right? For you to see and start reading the information with me. So for me, it's very important to get to the point of, okay, I see that I have sold in February $716. If I try to see the integration of my grouping, as you can see with the dimensions, you are going to see now how these figures are integrated. So the large customer sold 51,000. The medium customers, type of customers, sold, well, 20,000, and so on. All right, another type of analysis that I can do is that I have different departments. This will be helpful for, let's say, expenses. Sometimes in my company, I have, I don't know, buildings, different type of offices, or different type of integrated areas. So in this example, I have administration, productions, and sales. These are not real areas only related to offices or buildings. These are virtual. This could be integrated according to my understanding as an accountant. Where am I actually making expenditures? And I want to integrate this part to understand whenever I see a GL account related to expenses, now I can slice and dice my information like I did with the sales operations for large, medium, and small customers, now by area in terms of expenses or expenditures. So if I want to analyze my expenditure from the store sales or the sales for wholesaler, for production and administrative expenses, G&A. Okay, basically that's the purpose of having this type of analysis, right? You can create this, by the way. You won't require a programmer in order to use this tool called account schedules. Let me just give you another type of analysis. The customer group. If I wanted to take an overview of the same analysis, but taking, well, this is April, and my sales operation that I will be just reading for, excuse me, that I want to read, but in this case, the sales account where I posted sales invoices is taking all the information and slicing by large, medium, small, again, in order to give me this very basic analysis. Of course, this will be meaning that now you can group your vendors, you can group your customers, and guess what? You can also use your GL budgets. Oh, I haven't actually budgeted this type of analysis, but let me give you an analysis just for you to understand the idea of the understanding for today. I have GL budgets. The GL budgets actually is something that I just create from scratch. Let me just budget. Oh, this is the 2020. A 2020 budget to see where we actually use the dimensions. Okay. Now, if I want to work with this, I'm going to include in this budget the departments and the customer groups that I just showed you, because this is asking me, Business Central, what dimensions you want to use. In first place, when we create a budget, we understand that we are budgeting GL, chart of accounts, but this is also giving me the idea of the dimension. Do you want to budget for the departments and for the customers that we already have seen in the previous analysis? Well, so this is good for me to give you an idea of what is the idea of the dimension. All right, so for me, when I create a budget from scratch, this is only gonna take me 2 minutes. When I create a budget, I will be creating the idea of the chart of accounts exactly that I have. Here it is, my income services, the same income statement accounts that I will be budgeting for now. But as an example, what do you want to see? For instance, I can recreate with the department. Okay, I want to see my departments. So in the income, in the columns, I have my chart of accounts, and in the rows, I have my chart of accounts, and in the columns, I have my specific dimensions. Basically, that's it. What do you want to budget by month? We have different type of analysis by quarter, year, or by accounting period according to your requirements, okay? This will be a good idea to do by month and rounding factors whenever you need. Normally, I don't use a rounding factor, right? So basically, that's it. With this idea, I will be for instance, scheduling the rent expense for the different areas, for the administrative. Maybe this is a building, the product manufacturing building, the sales department, or the stores. All right, it depends according to your requirements. I just want to give you the idea. Once I have that, then I will be then adding specific figures that I will be according my experience or my analysis for the future. Then I would just need to add some figures. For instance, my GL account is 16,100. This is my rent expense. Then I will be posting the rent expenditures. And this could be maybe just an idea of now, what are you going to be budgeting? I'm going to be posting to this specific chart of accounts, but using the dimension stores. All right. So also, I will be paying the rent for this for my stores that I don't know how many stores I have, but I could create a dimension for every single store. Okay. So in order to save some time, I will be just paying $1,000 for my stores, all right? So, well, this is now being filtered, that's fine. But also I could pay the rent for another department. So for the administrative, another figure. And this is now budgeted for all these dimensions, okay? Because guess what? This is exactly that what is going to be happening when I actually, hopefully you get the idea, when you actually post a sales order, a sales invoice, or purchases, if in this case, you don't use GL journals, you might be using a actual purchase invoices that then you affect the balance of a vendor, right? Well, guess what? In this case, we are just budgeting, but if we actually post an actual, a real document, now we will be comparing the actual document information in the against my budgeting in the actual account schedule that I showed you before, right? So you know that you know some concepts now that actually where we actually use dimensions. So that's it. Just giving you these ideas where I will be then just working and getting out of my GL budget. I will be just now working on my analysis. Okay, you can create the account schedule according what you want by just doing the edit account schedule. And with this, or let me just show you the P&L. The edit account schedule by just selecting the actual GL account that you want to be seeing in your report, and voila, then everything will be working for you. Also, we can just insert GL accounts from your actual chart of accounts, select the accounts that you want as an example, right? You can select any, and by clicking on OK, you will be inserting into your analysis any GL account you want to then review in combination with the dimensions. So basically, it's the purpose of that, all right? Then how then we start working with this? I'm going to open now the dimension list that I configure for you to see how it actually is done. In the background, I have the dimension list. I have area, business group, customer group, and department. I want to analyze my financial information by all these type of criteria. Let's take a look there. You already know the customer group because we saw a very simple report, but of course, we are going to be integrating something more complex. But the dimension values are large, medium, and small. You already know that. If I take a look at the department, you already saw that I created the values for my areas in my company, right? Administrative, production, sales, stores. Then I'm going to review the area. The area for me is a geographical area that I will be using because I have third-party softwares. I have my single, well, the account schedule that you review is only for accountants because we are actually just using the transactions posted on my GLs, right? In combination with now the dimension values. In this case, I have Europe, America, and Asia. I use actually this one for sales operations as well, because now I will be using this information for me as an accountant to analyze the information by geographical area. I won't care about anymore about only seeing the information by chart of accounts. What is the idea of having dimension values? Only reporting BI? No. The actual and real use for me as an accountant of the dimension values is that I don't have to create a GL account for every criteria or concept that I use to analyze my information. Usually in the past, we will be creating a single account as an example for the sales in Europe. So another GL account for the sales in America and another GL account for sales in Asia. Or if I try to understand my customer group analysis, one specific GL account for the large, medium, or small. And the same goes for the expenses that with the criteria that I'm at least just giving you as a demo, but we can use your criteria in your company. I would be making a GL account for the expenses for the administrative area, the production, the sales, or the stores. If I take everything into my chart of accounts, this is, I don't know, 1,000 GL accounts that I will be creating in one single chart of accounts, and then it's impossible to analyze. So the idea of the dimension at the to understand the foundation of why we have dimension values is because we want to have a small chart of accounts, because the idea of the chart of accounts is in order to have a correct analysis, I only have the actual chart of accounts and also my GL account categories. This is very easy for an accountant to understand. Okay, leaving for 1 second the dimensions, I have my chart of accounts categories here, and I can see the totals by category. For instance, the cash total is 171. All right, and this is integrated by 2 GL accounts here that I can see starting with 1, right? And I don't have here the criteria of the store, the geographical area, and so on. That's done in the account schedule that I show you. So this is very easy now to understand. And if I want to give further analysis, I use the account schedule, right? Or if I want to get beautiful charts and so on, I can use, I don't know, Power BI or Jet reports according to whatever you purchase. Okay, let's go back to the dimension idea. Basically, you already saw my dimensions, and I want to present you for the first time my chart of accounts. As you can see, and it's not very long anymore. I only have my assets. Let me show you here. By the way, everything is integrated with, you already know that we work with a Office tools, and basically, let me just show you my Excel that I am downloading here. Here it is. The same information is here, and I only have 81 accounts, believe it or not. Okay, all this information is real time integrated with my browser and downloading to Excel, right? Another idea, I have my H accounts payable as an example, and I just need to refresh. Excel is integrated to the cloud environment. And by refreshing the information, this is now giving me the actual balances as an example, all right? Also just giving you some ideas of what I have here. Coming back to the chart of accounts and my dimensions that I just showed you, the only idea of opening this in Excel is that you can see that my chart of accounts is now very small, 81 accounts, because I don't need to have everything sliced and diced in my chart of accounts. I just need a total, the net change, and the balances normally in order to present it, to close my periods, right? And to see the final figures at the end, all right? But anyway, I still need to analyze with the idea of the dimensions for their criteria for my financial figures, right? So you now saw my dimensions. And I want to give you another idea because the dimensions can go not only into the financial module, but these dimensions can go through the entire company. So the entire company can see my departments, can see my customer groups, my geographical areas that for me as an accountant, I set it up. So how do we do actually that? We have the concept of two global dimensions that will be traveling through the entire a system. And these ones that I just selected, these are only two global dimensions that can go through all the modules. First of all, the department. I selected because everyone can post into one specific department where they work, right, in order to post their expenses or their purchases. And the customer groups, because, well, this is the dimension number 2, because everybody could be in the company, use this customer group information in order to post and see it. I'm going to show you in a moment, not only in the general, for instance, if I'm an accountant, I will be normally using invoices or actually just general journals. So I can see this business area and customer group. So if I post, I use what type of invoice I'm posting to one customer or the business group or the department. If I post an expense in my general journals, I need to use the dimension in combination with the GL account so I can create further analysis, right? But I just need to select 2 of them that will be traveling for a purchases, sales, projects, retail. So the stores can see, as an example, that I require them to post and use a dimensions because I need their expenditures as an example or their figures. You can create a dimension that will be called stores. And I want to provide an account schedule or an analysis of my chart of accounts that is called store analysis for a P&L or for a balance sheet that is only giving you information belonging to the stores, as another example. With that, excuse me. Oh, I need to explain you how many dimensions we also use in Business Central. General ledger, because we have a limitation to use only 8. Here they are. Dimensions, as you can see here, global dimension number 1 specifies the code for a global dimension that is linked to the record or entry for analysis purposes. 2 global dimensions typically for the company most important activities are available on all cards. All cards mean vendors, customers, resources, employees, etc., etc. But by area, I still have, I don't only use 2, I also have, as you can see here, 8 dimensions. In this demo, I'm not using all of them, but I could if I want. As an example, I could use now the geographical area, right? Oh, let me see. This is because I have been posting some other transactions where I actually already using my dimensions. And here is the dimension number 3 is the area, all right? But you can continue other dimensions that will be used. I'm just giving you the idea of only 2 will be traveling to the entire system, and it will be mandatory if you want it, right? Of course, but not only them. You can add to continue adding more because even though I have already configured this, should be done from the beginning when we make an implementation to avoid some errors or inconsistencies, right? But anyway, if you want, we can help you to add if you already have Business Central or Navision integrated, right? Basically, you get the idea of how many we can get, 8 and 2 global for the entire system. Now let's take a look and let's work with dimensions. In first place, I need to see my basic configuration, because this came from the financial module. The accountant is setting up this information. But remember that we have 2 globals and 1. And let's take a look at the customer list. For 1 second, I'm going to be now the sales manager. If I take a look at my customers, or also the accountant sometimes can create customers. It's not a problem. Let's try to avoid the confusion about roles for 1 second, because since I'm an administrator, we won't have issues. But what I want to show you is that this is my list of customers. It's very short for the demo. And I want to just open one of the cards. Adatum Corporation, if is one of my customers, where one of his employees or the contact or responsible for this account is Robert Towns. Okay, now I also have the balance for 219, but he hasn't paid 134, all right? So if I just want to then understand these figures, this is a domestic customer, right? So I just have some very basic setups. And here I have some discounts that I have, just giving you more insights in Business Central, that I can set up in advance. So this customer has some, if he purchased home appliances type of items, he will be having discounts, all right? Basically, all right, but here for me, the most important thing for me to work, if I want to work with this customer, I need to work with the dimensions idea. This customer works in the 60 area or dimension. So if I'm a salesperson, when I create a customer, you saw the general information, the picture, etc. Now, from now on, if you want to work with dimension, please just set up your customer with the geographical area to which this customer belongs to. So this customer belongs to USA South, so that's fine. The business group, if I have different type of activities in my company, I can have wholesaling activities, retail, or manufacturing activities. So this is helpful to make more analysis. So also he's part of large, the customer group, he's a large customer. So the figures that you saw before in the previous analysis comes, or part of the figures that you saw before comes from the sales operation from this actual single customer, because he's a large customer for me. And guess what? You can also use this as a mandatory figure. So every sales operation, every sales invoice that you post, as an example, and also the cost of goods sold, also the, if you ship and you charge insurance or freight services or any type of expense that you post through a sales order, will be including this information, not only the sales operation analysis that I show you, but every GL account, when we make a transaction that actually uses this customer, will be using the customer group large as mandatory, all right? We could use no code, so it's not a problem, but this is not allowed at this moment because it doesn't make sense at this point to use this part, okay? Of course that I want a dimension, so I won't care about this part. Just giving you that this could be mandatory if you want it, because normally the accountants would, they don't like inconsistencies. They wouldn't like to have information. Once we use dimensions, you don't want to have an accountant to post always a dimension, because he's an accountant, he understands about these type of operations, but your salesman, your sales representatives, they don't actually understand this information very well, because this is coming only when you analyze the financial information, all right? But you configure it, we show and we train your people to use dimensions, at least to provide this information. Basically with that, we are not working with dimensions, all right? Every customer, every vendor, let me show you now also your items can handle dimensions. Let me give you another idea. If I just take a look at the vendors, the same idea, it's actually not complicated at all. I have, I don't know, Auto Parts International. Auto Parts International is a vendor that I have. And well, once again, the picture, but the idea is that also this type of, for my analysis, maybe for AP, maybe for expenses, we also are going to be working with the area, the business group, right? If this is coming from retail, maybe this is supplying for my stores. So let's give the dimension, or if I talk about the area, this is USA South as well, all right? And I don't know, I also would like to work in the department because this is only for the production or manufacturing as an example. So we are going to see how much the product, the production department is purchasing. From now on, I don't need to create a single GL account, but just creating dimensions for your analysis, all right? As an idea of what do we do with this. So now, if I just actually, let me just show you. If I just create a document, let's create a sales order or a purchase order as well. Will be working more or less the same when we work with dimensions. I'm just going to create a new sales order that is going to be helping me to work within the environment with the dimensions. I'm going to select the any random customer. The sales order includes information about that was set up in the customer. Let me just give you this insight. The sales order is here with all the general information, the email, the contact, and here I have 4 ongoing sales orders, 3 invoices, and 37 posted sales shipments. So very good. I now getting information about my cash flow. This customer is selling a lot at this point, but with with my analysis, because I'm selling, for me, the accountant, I'm just reviewing the analysis from the financial side. But these people is seeing the actual transactions, right, that are being posted at this moment. So they don't see the cash flow, but they see here that I have 37 invoices for this customer only. Now, in the second part of my invoices, I will be adding some items. Let's try to sell a random item here. I was working with the manufacturing. So I have a Monroe shock conversion. Okay, this type of items, I know that I'm just manufacturing, all right? It's not a problem. So I have a location code. This is a warehouse that you just select. So I'm going to explain now the figures because this will be traveling now to the financial GL accounts that I will be now handling. Okay, understanding the information that I have. Please append this urgently. Okay, just as an example. Okay, we have internal chats that you can use. All right. Okay, here from this customer, well, the payment service I will be paying from PayPal, which is integrated seamlessly to Business Central. And also, this is coming from Atlanta, the tax area code, and this customer is in Atlanta in the USA, which is in the South, by the way, and well, also the shipping information. Well, but with that, most importantly for me for today, I want to see the, okay, explode what? By the way, if you want, if you have kitting for your companies or assembly or whatever, you just can include all the components. Now, I'm just telling the system that we have a kit, in this case, that I'm selling, that will be sold. So also all these parts, shock absorber, Fortain, rear and coil springs, all these are one single item, okay? Just for you to understand what I'm doing here. But, well, anyway, for me, the most important here is to, how is this actually working for the financial side? All right, let me see, first of all, the dimensions related to my sales operation. This will be posted, since this was in Atlanta, this is coming to the USA South. So I'm going to make further analysis. The business group is for wholesale because I have different type of operations in my company, and the customer group is large. With that information, I just would like to, let me see if with the manufacturing, maybe I would need to try to analyze the preview posting. Okay, not yet. I still need to, I wanted to show you the GL accounts. Let me just create another sales order. I couldn't create and post this sales order because I still need to configure some manufacturing processes behind the scene before we can get to the point where we actually see the GL figures used in advance. Because from the sales orders, I actually can see the GL that I will be posting to with the actual information. But I'm just going into another type of operation that won't be manufacturing. I won't be manufacturing anything. I'm just selecting another type of item, right? Which is, let me see, I believe this is a final product. This is a home appliance, very good. Okay, now for me, I want to preview the information. This is asking me to add a serial number. We also care about the if you want to make serial numbers on your item, just giving you more insights. We have a lot of configurations for everything. So it's not just a single process about going into just the dimension and financial information. But just giving you these insights, Business Central can create lot numbers, serial numbers, and barcoding whenever you need. And I'm going to create just all 10 different, because I'm requesting 10 pieces that I will be then tracking by serial number. Business Central is giving me 10 different serial numbers to identify all my items. Before, oh, I don't have even inventory, but you can sell it, no problem. Okay, because at the end of the day, before even posting and posting into your GL accounts, you need to complete all the operations required, of course, in order to see everything that will be then posting. Let me see. I have an error for my serial number. What happened here? Item tracking lines. I have 1, 2, 3 undefined 0. That looks fine. Serial information. And finally, let me see where's the error. Oh, this also has variants. Oof. I need to select an item that is going to help me just with this exercise, because I need you to see the actual information that we actually use. Let me create a sales order with an item that is not manufactured, neither tracked, because I need to do further processes behind, and that's gonna take me some time. So I need an item that is just very easy to post and to receive and to sell. Okay, maybe this is better. Hopefully this is going to allow me. And, let's take a look. Preview posting. No. One second while this is actually posting information. All right. In the GL entries, most importantly, every time we post a sales order, we are going to be updating, of course, the customer. That's why the customer balance for AR purposes. The item ledger entry, because I need to update the information in my warehouses. The tax entry, of course, just let me show you. This is the USA version. And we work with different type of taxes according to your geographical area. So I have tax entries and the value entries according to, because I need to update the cost. Talking about the GL entries, I have 7 GL entries that will be posted. And here, because I'm selling, the idea is that I will be using an account number 1, which I know that is inventory, an account number 5, 4, and 2 for, well, 5 and 4 for my costs. The sales order is also posting into the account number 4 for my sale recognition, working with the sale with the domestic type of customer and the retail type of customer. You remember that I'm using dimensions, right? So it's very important to understand how and what information will be posted into my GL accounts. Now we do not only post amounts into the actual GL, but we also generate more information. In this case, it is a sales operation for a domestic and a retail type of customer. If you open now the chart of accounts, you are going to see this information as well that will be then used in my, at least the account schedule, but also by other third-party type of softwares. So that's why I needed to see all the actual information behind all of this. And we have this dimension used here, and also the type of information that we'll be posting if I want to analyze the geographical area. The type of activity that I do. This is a business group for wholesaling. This is not related to stores. This is not related to any other type and large businesses, okay? So if I just post this information, well, this will be posted. Now that I just preview the posting information, and now that I'm sure about this, because I just need to see this information in advance, and I just can post the information. And also, well, by the way, I'm just sending this shipping and invoices just for the demo. And then also I'm going to be sending it through Outlook to the customer so they can see the information. Since this is integrated with Outlook behind the scene, I'm actually sending information with the actual, this is, well, generating a PDF, but you can generate a Word. This is out of the box, and you can see the information that just use the specific PayPal information that is here in order to pay. All right, basically, well, this is all at this point that I just wanted to share from the transaction that I'm posting. And I need to come back to the explanation of the dimensions. Okay, now that I have and I understood how customers are configured, how dimensions are configured in my company, and how I actually created a transaction. If I take a look at my chart of accounts with the actual information that I just posted, okay, my chart of accounts is here. With the sales operation that I did, I decreased the inventory, I posted the cost of goods sold, and I posted my product sales operation account. Income product sales, because I know that this is the account 40200 that we saw in the sales order analysis. And with this, I'm just opening my figures. Okay, so here in my, let me see if I can add here. Oh, by the way, now in the detailed information, you won't require a programmer in order to customize your windows. Let me just personalize my own window just as an example. I'm going to add more fields, and you can decide. First of all, I'm going to add the department code, the customer group code. Very well. What else will be good? The dimension set ID, GL account name. Basically, I believe that of the customer group wasn't added here. The customer group is here. Okay. You remember that I talked about the fact that we have two global dimensions, correct? Let me just finalize editing. All right. This is the detail of my GL account, 400 income product sales. You saw that I customized this. And here I have now the information that I'm working with small, large, and medium type of customers. I don't have a department code here at this point. This will be more used for my expenses, but the customer group dimension is very well used with the sales type of account. So now you have all this information. At the end, this is what I actually want to have. Once I configure my customers, my dimension, a concept, in this case, criteria for sales operations. And here, last but not least, the amounts, right? And as you can see, I'm posting information in February, in April. Somebody selling also posted a sales operation for April, March, and February, at least in this type of operation where I'm using dimensions. So very well. Once I then show you the detail that is coming from an actual document. Once again, I just would need to review my account schedule to see that the actual figures were just updated, and well, basically just that. For the accountants that are actually learning about dimensions, I just need to tell you one downside about using this, because if we use many dimensions, the database will be increased. How do we then work with this type of, with this adding fields to information, especially for those of you who work with the retail, you have a very big database. How do we technically then, let me just make a parenthesis. I know this presentation is for accountants mainly. Let me just at least show you the final analysis with the updating information. Let me just open the overview of my customer group analysis. Okay. Whenever I just review any type of a transaction, right? You are not going to have the capacity to review by period all your transactions. Let me just go back to the actual correct period. This is it. I have now my analysis posted from my chart of accounts, working with 700 as a total. This is the actual figure that I have in my sales account, all right? The one that I showed you before, 715. But now I want to see the integration, and apparently the small type of customers are selling more. But previously I posted a sales operation for for my large customers, right? So the idea is that we are integrating now for the accountant a simple BI, all right? You can actually just create your analysis. Let me just show you very fast before giving you the technical explanation. If I want to create an analysis for me, let's try to create a P&L, okay? This is for accountants. So this is test analysis. Okay. Whenever I work with dimensions, I will be working with account schedules. And I will be then, for instance, creating the account schedule for the first time. This is very easy. I just want to insert GL accounts. Okay, so from now on, you are going to be selecting all the accounts that you need to analyze whenever you work with dimensions. You know that we have set them up, the people is working and posting information with the actual figures and in combination with dimensions. But I want to filter, for instance, only the income statement accounts to be inserted in the analysis that I'm just currently, oh, sorry, I make a mistake here. I want to insert all the accounts coming from the P&L to make my analysis as an accountant to show you how easy it is to work with the dimensions idea. And I want to insert all my income statement accounts that I have just filtering here. This is my actual analysis that I'm doing. And here you can select, for instance, the customer group. Do you want to make an analysis for only the large, the medium, or the small? I'm actually making a P&L, but in combination with the dimensions, but only maybe for large customers, as an example, right? So the accountant just need to create his analysis, and I'm just, as an example, giving and configuring all my accounts only for large customers, giving this filtering process, okay, that I'm just doing in 2 minutes. I'm almost finished. Giving you the idea that I will be then working with the same analysis. This is an actual chart of accounts. All my income statement accounts are here, but I don't have to create more accounts. I just need to combine my GL with my customer group, because this is the analysis that I'm trying to perform, as an example. Okay, I just would need to add all the dimensions to the following chart of account, GL accounts, maybe also the rent expense, if it makes if it gives you a good if it makes sense, we can make the combination with 2 or more dimensions. In this case, large with another type of dimensions, maybe store, maybe geographical area, right? The large customers in my country, in foreign countries, or the large customers only in domestic geographical areas, and you can combine them. As long as you understand the idea, you can do whatever you want. Okay. I'm just going to leave the design of the account schedule for 1 second, but you see how easy it is for you now to analyze further information, all right? So this is a single P&L, but when you understand more about Business Central and dimensions, you are going to also be able to create further analysis. For instance, the cash flow that Cortana is analyzing is coming from my analysis. Let me just give you another. This is the overview of the cash flow: operating activities, investing activities, and cash at the end of the period, right? So this is quite advanced, right? But guess what? You can also here analyze to understand the cash flow activities by dimension, okay? Large, medium, and small. Why only 2 and not all of them? Because we only have 2 that are global, that will be used in all the functionality that I showed you. In my account schedule, in my purchasing documents, and in my sales documents, all right? So you can include all of them, but 2 traveling the entire system, and the other 8 that you can use in all the system as well. But in order to see all dimensions working, this is for BI, this will be then need to be extracted, maybe to Excel or maybe to another third-party software to analyze the entire 8 dimensions if you want to use the 8 dimensions in your company, okay? But we have this type of constraints. What if we continue add more dimensions? Are your dimensions, I don't know, maybe you have, let me think of, you want to create a store analysis, okay? But it happens to be that you have 200 stores, all right? So now you're gonna have increased more variables into your database. Let me make this parenthesis for now for the technical people. How do we manage now the increased information in our databases? Okay, for our parentheses, we work with an analysis view name. Let me just explain this parameter. The customer group analysis that we did before with large, medium, and so on, okay, this will be extracting information from my entire history, and in order to make a report with the analysis of the dimension, this will take a while, all right, to be honest, if we start to work from scratch, okay? So the first time you basically, in every system, you run a report for the first time, it takes some time a lot. And specifically, if you want to, in one single server, you have your Business Central, you have your BI analysis tools to make reports. Well, this could be a mess. So also we help in this case by creating a concept of analysis view where we have third-party, let me say, not third-party, but another tables. Let me just show you this. And manage and edit. We have a concept that we call analysis view card, right? So whenever an accountant works with his analysis, he implement the GL accounts he wants to analyze with any dimension he wants to analyze, then we go and create a temporary table where we just tell the system, okay, I want to use some specific GL accounts you ask, or the actual accountant can use. In this case, I'm filtering only sales accounts, 400 to 499, okay? The date compression, I want to see the transactions in another table that I will be using for reporting, that I can compress by date or even by week or by month. Ask the accountant how he actually wants, the level of detail he wants to analyze. If I, for instance, here place month, okay, this is asking me, hey, I was working with date compression. If you ask me to change it to month compression, okay, of course, my database or these tables that I use only for reporting purposes will be deleting the previous day transactions, daily transactions, and compressing only to have monthly totals, all right? So this is how we actually just filter the information. Let me revert the changes. So I'm filtering into only the GL accounts that this report will be using. Also using the compression for me to give the insights until the level of detail that the accountant wants, and only using the dimensions that the accountant wants to use. He wants to see geographical area for his sales account, his sales accounts in combination with the area, with the customer group, and with the type of business group. I don't know if you want to analyze also the stores or whatever, well, just include it here in this single package. And then just, you can just refresh it, basically. You can refresh your analysis or update this. And in this moment, if I click on update, the idea is that Business Central is going to extract the information from the actual chart of account and extract it into another temporary table where all these filters are going to be extracted information, and with the compression that the accountant requires, in this case they, but ask him how he wants to compress his information to avoid, to inflate the information that he's going to be using for the reports, and voila. Basically, that's how we more or less use the dimensions in combination in order to create with reports. In this case, I have 4,401 transactions posted into these GL accounts. And basically with this now, I can generate any report that I want with this criteria, right? In this case, I just use a very basic report that is just handled here with a large, medium, small. But the accountant that it's trained in the use of this account schedule tool, he will be creating any analysis that he wants from now on. And he can now toggle between periods with the dimensions information that is here, with the filters by area as an example. Okay, you can see Europe North, USA, Asia. I don't know, I was selling to a customer that was in the South, okay? So from now on, I can continue filtering my analysis. And in this case, if I take a look, I have Small, okay, most of them in the USA South are small customers, right? And I sold 639 dollars in this specific period, all right? So very, very important. So you can continue to work and analyze information by quarter, year, accounting period, day. You can filter your same information coming from your chart of accounts and etc. Right? Of course, you cannot only analyze dimensions, but like we did before, analyze actual GL accounts that you want to see, right? And filter by your dimensions using this type of tools, all right? I'm filtering, I can see my departments, I can see my customer groups, and so on, and checking the same GL account that I have here in my income statement. So with this idea, I don't have to create a very large chart of accounts. I can help to have a healthy database and to avoid working with the constraints when it comes to performance. So that's why we use this concept, okay? Now let me work with another type of idea. Just for you to know, sometimes it's very, very important for the accountant to avoid combinations of dimensions that are not allowed. Let me explain you this idea. I have all my dimensions here in this column: area, business group, customer, and department, all right? So whenever a person, for instance, work within any type of, let me see. Okay. Whenever I want to work with dimensions, what I can just do is just to avoid working with specific combinations that I don't want to see. For instance, whenever I just work with areas, for instance, sometimes area was used in my analysis for sales operations, right? As an example. So I don't want, as an accountant, that nobody is using sales orders, because this dimension area is being used with sales orders mainly, right? And the departments will be most of the time used only for expenses. So I want to, as an accountant, limit or block the combination between the area dimension and the department concept, all right? Because there are completely two different things. The area was used for sales operation and the department is used for expenses. So I don't want any GL account used for expenses using the area information, or either any GL account for sales operations containing any department dimension, because this could create a mess for me, okay? Because now I'm going to go directly, once I have blocked the combinations of these two type of criteria done at the same time, I'm going to go into the chart of accounts and limit my, the accountant can do so. My chart of accounts can be limited to use specific dimensions from now on. I was working with sales operation, and just to be on that specific level of example, but remember that this could be, dimensions could be used in any account, okay? Now, if I want to work on a GL level, this is the GL account card for income service, income, not services. I was using the income product sales, right? With this type of account, this information that I will be using, this is the balance, and I have some setups in the account card, all right? Where I can say, okay, this GL account is belonging to the income statement, very good. The account category, I have liability, income, cost of goods sold, or expenses type of accounts. All right, so this is an income and so on. So we have different type of setups that I use. And one of them, most importantly for today's session, is that I can generate the dimension that this account will be using only one specific type of dimension. Okay, area and business group only. All right. So for me, it's very important that using for this GL account and to avoid confusion when I actually posting information to this account, okay, this could be that a area is being selected, but maybe you could specify that if you want to post information into this GL account, any dimension that you want should be mandatory. So in a sales invoice or in a general journal, the person that is using that type of a document, any document, should include the area mandatory, right? So I'm saying that you need to include the country, or in this case, I only was using Europe, Asia, or Latin America. And the business group, I also want to be mandatory for this account. And the department needs to be blocked. Okay, so nobody could post a department because I'm using this dimension only for expenses accounts. All right, and from now on, everybody should be posting a mandatory transaction using the dimension value that you specify in as mandatory in this case. All right, and this is very important. If I just left it blank, well, you could post blank transactions, or in other words, with no dimension. You could post but I want to avoid that type of operations. Normally, when I start to work with dimensions, I want to always use the dimension information when I actually just post into the account. Okay, so I was working with the red expense ideas. I also would need to, in this case, work with the dimension, and on a GL level, I want to specify that anybody using the rent account from now on should tell me if they actually belong to administration, production, sales, or the stores areas in my company. Okay, and I can specify it as well. This is a best practice when we work with dimensions, that this GL account is mandatory to carry the dimension information. All right, now let's give another idea. Okay, this is for the rent, this is for the entire company. Okay, but it could happen that the office supplies, I have another type of account that I use whenever I create a transaction for the office supplies. Well, office supplies is an account that I just use for the pen, the papers, the paper, or the any expense that I work, for instance, that I use and that I purchase, right? For my offices only, as an example. This is not related to all different type of departments. Let me give you an idea. Since these are just office supplies, this will be related to the, as an example, the administration department only. Okay, so this GL account is only used by the administration department, and this is mandatory from now on. All right, so if somebody wants to use this account, this will be forbidden whenever they try to purchase, as an example, and use this GL account. For that, or for the stores, as an example, from now on, and very importantly, those of you who will be working with stores, you would need to create a new GL account that is cool, that could be called, let me see the numbering, 61 901. 61,901. I'm just giving you very important insights that are whenever now, this is another criteria when you use dimensions, store expenses, okay? So basically for me to start working with this is the expense type of category. The sub-account category for expenses, this will be salaries, it could be salaries for the stores, okay? So this is the type of expenses that I will be handling. As an example, very important, if you want to use this account, from now on, the dimension will be only used by that type of department. If I have it, only the stores can use this. So I have different type of expenses. For if you remember that I have GL budgets, and I will be then working with my budgets from my stores, and I only want to see in this account only information related coming from or related to the stores. Sales invoices, purchase invoices, I mean purchasing basically, or if you're the accountant want to use the general journals, only if you want to use the store expenses information for salaries. So you are now being very, very, very specific with your GL accounts, all right? So, well, that will be the only case where I'm actually going to be just specifying and creating new accounts. Whenever I want to be super, super specific, and that's helping me with that. Otherwise, you could use the same salaries expenses that you use for the entire company, and from now on that you know that the dimensions will be helping you to analyze by department where are your actual salaries, okay? Just as an example, I created a new account for you to see the actual use of the dimensions where I just created a new GL account. But normally with my salaries expenses, would be for the entire company would be good, right? As long as I configure my GL account with the mandatory usage of the dimension for departments, okay? So in this example, I'm going to select department, and all of the different departments can post into this specific GL account. So I could continue adding the departments that can post into the account. Let me see. Oh, my setup was incorrect. The idea is that as long as I just prioritize that the department is being used by let me see, can be used by all the departments. This account, this expense account can be used by all departments. I just need to select with the department type of dimensions with no specific department. But as long as it is mandatory, Business Central understand that all the departments can post into this specific GL account, all right? And this is most of the time done with actual purchase invoices or with specific GL journals. So we have combinations. We can prioritize the usage of dimensions for some specific GL accounts. And remember, last but not least, just to give you an insight, all the dimension informations can be connected. I'm using Power BI as an example, where I'm going to be actually just working with the actual information of the dimensions that I used before. Remember, I have geographical areas, I have departments, I have business group, and connected to Business Central is a Power seamlessly. You don't require anymore a programmer or anything like that, anything complex. From now on, you can just work on the let me see, on the integration that is seamlessly integrated now with the with our in the cloud environment, right? And here I have some BI analysis, all right? For me to understand what I'm doing with the actual dimensions, I just need to, let me just integrate an analysis for sales. This will be in Power BI. By the way, you can just get information that is done or predefined. Also, when we implement, we work with third-party software such as this, just to give you the actual uses of the dimensions. Let me see. This, retailing would be good for stores. And I'm connecting some analysis. One second. And let me add another type of analysis for, this could be good, for retailing. Let me try, let me connect it. Customer profitability. Okay, with Power BI, in conjunction or Get Reports will be exactly just the same. I'm going to be reading more information to give you more insights. I'm working, by the way, I forgot to mention, with the region USA localization from Business Central. Right, so I have some analysis predefined. I didn't create this report. I'm just imported a package from Power BI, and this is now giving me insights about my company in real time. That is why I'm just doing it on the fly. 42.5% of gross margin from different type of, and the total revenue, by the way. And here I have you remember that I budgeted before some figures. Here I have target versus actual, but extracted by salesperson, done on the fly for the accountant or sales representative. And here I can see the budgeted, the target is in this red line, and the other figures, low, medium, high, and actual figures represented in just one single chart. So very easy to analyze because I have my chart of accounts and I have my dimensions and so on. So I have north is the total revenue. I want to analyze with my dimensions. You remember that I have different geographical areas. You remember that I was posting into the south region, and in the total revenue in this map, I'm just on the fly analyzing the south region. Sorry, I just analyzing the south region of my, even I can see a beautiful map. This is Power BI, okay? The important thing for me that I want to give you an insight. I brought this BI tool because this is not only creating dimensions for my, to reduce the actual size of my chart of accounts, but this is often and most importantly used from BI tools. Like in this, I have geographical areas where I'm analyzing here my actual performance for profitability and revenue. And remember that I have budgets that also actually as well work with dimensions. This is exactly the analysis that I have here. I have the total actual revenue against the budgeted that I can see in this line. All right, so here you can see whenever you were above or below your actual budget, but by geographical area, whenever you want to work with this tool, well, I'm clicking on the south as an example, right? And the actual figures are now being changing in real time for you to see the actual information. Well, only in Texas and Oklahoma, I'm actually just working. And if I want to see the north, only with this beautiful map, I only see the actual figures and the regions in the map and so on, okay? So this is the end of the presentation. This is the actual usage of the dimensions. So if you want to work with the implementation, or we want to work either in Navision and Business Central or for operations in this case, with the Dynamics products, but now all of this is integrated on the fly. Guess what? I'm not actually getting out of the actual Business Central. Here it is. It's just that I'm connecting all my applications that I'm just showing here with my actual in the cloud environment. This is the main the best part of the functionality. I do not work anymore with an isolated solution. I'm actually working with the real information on different type of platforms. I have Business Central working with Dimensions. I have Power BI here working with Dimensions, and everything working connected together, right? What will happen if I, for instance, open Outlook at this point? Right, just for you to give the last part of this presentation, I'm just going to open my Outlook. I'm just the person who will be attending, well, financial analysis or sales operations, who is I'm covering today with the use of Dimensions. Remember that Dimensions work and for all the modules, just to mention, manufacturing, jobs, services for those of you who provide maintenance, retail for those of you who manage stores, and any type of information, right? And guess what? As well, integrated with this type of operations, with Dimensions, I'm going to just create, for instance, a sales order from Outlook, right? Just to give you an insight of what is actually this, what is for me working with Dimensions, with my chart of accounts, and with my operations, right? I'm going to create an email. Better even if this will be better for the sales. I'm going to work with my calendar. And I know that I have some customers that I have some appointments for today. Let me see. Today is 27, social media, core, marketing, sync. Let me see if any of these meetings are related to sales operations. I believe this one is. I'm not pretty sure, because I wanted to give you an insight about, no, this is not. Okay, the idea, I wanted to create a sales order from Outlook, but I don't seem to find a meeting with any of my customers. Okay, I have I have a previous presentation done for a introduction to Business Central, where you can see this type of operations. I just, in this case, I wanted to show you the dimensions that whenever you create a sales order from Outlook, then you will be having the dimensions included and mandatory, right? But take a look at our previous webinars, where you can see the actual usage of a Business Central, where you can actually create those integrate when I'm showing all the integrations, right? But in terms of dimensions, and for how is the actual usage of dimensions, that is everything for today. Hopefully this has been an insightful meeting for you to understand what do we configure, how do we work with our chart of accounts, dimensions, where do we configure the criteria that you can, how you can use your dimensions for you in your company. And if you have any other doubt about, oh, remember, you use them for BI, use them for budgets, use dimensions for financial reports, like we have shown before. Use dimensions in combination and validate them or integrate them with your GL accounts, right? And make validations when you can use specific dimensions for some specific chart of GL accounts and so on. Okay, basically that's it. I'm going to give you I don't know if you have any doubt about how we can implement this type of criteria with the dimensions in your company, right? Or if you have any other doubt about the usage of Business Central in the cloud, just give you one last, I having a question here. No, this is not only done or used only for in the cloud environment. This browser I'm using here is because in Business Central, the client is not a Windows application that we install in your laptop. For those of you who are not technical, we normally go and any software, we open you give us your laptop and we install the software in your machine, basically. We do not work anymore like this with Business Central. But this could be installed on premises, on servers that are locally in your company, right? And also, if you pay for the maintenance or the server installation with you have a local vendor that is giving you that service, or if you work with Microsoft services such as Azure, all right? We don't, the difference to work with what we call in the cloud is just that this is just a client that we have and we open in a browser. We have Outlook that we have shown in a browser. Business Central is in a browser, and what other tool I use today? Oh, Power BI. Power BI as well. The tool that I'm opening is in the cloud. Let me just show you these processes just for you to see. Here I have Google, very good. Here, and I have all my tools. I have Business Central, Power BI dashboard. So I don't know, I'm just randomly opening any of my applications. Okay, all my analysis that I presented are here. This is Power BI. I have profitability, item bin analysis. I don't know, I'm just randomly opening a Business Central retail sample, all right? Everything is being open in a browser. I'm analyzing stores in different regions with these beautiful charts, but this is getting information from my Business Central company. Okay, so that's the new technology that we call in the cloud. But where is the actual installation? Well, this could be in your actual server in your company, or if you have it hosted, or if you pay to Azure, it's not a problem. So basically, that's what we normally do, all right? Any other question? Sorry, this was out of the dimension idea, but since I'm opening different type of applications to use the usage of dimensions, somebody asked, have a doubt about where is actually everything installed, all right? No, that is just a simple answer. It's not installed only in the cloud with Azure, or this could be installed anywhere. And the client is, for all the applications that we use, is a browser. And as you can see, everything works seamlessly and very fast, okay? And remember, I just, for instance, with Power BI, I just connected a whole package to the database, and with a package of what we call a dashboard like this, all right? A package contains different type of dashboards like we saw. We contains different type of reports, right? And this is what Power BI offers. From out of the box analysis from for finance, sales operations like this. This is a dashboard. This is getting information like this that you can play with, and we connect this in 1 minute, all right? So as you can see, this works very fast, even though this is a browser that I can just, I don't know, open in my laptop or I don't know, Oh, correct, correct. Or another question is that not only the actual client is my browser, is Google or Firefox, I don't know, all right? In this case, let me open an installation that I have not only in the cloud, I just wanted to show you, I have an installation done in my server that is called here localhost. This is Business Central as well, right? So the previous company that I showed you before, it was on Azure actually, because we as partners actually have that type of environments with Azure, right? This is Contoso. And basically, a for me, I have two environments here. One is in Azure and one is in one specific machine that I call localhost. Oh, this is not a server. This is actually my machine actually, but my laptop. But as you can see here, I as well have another type of, oh, this is for retail. This is for retail. This is a the actual retail Business Central integrated with other type of applications, right? And here I'm just opening a POS. That as well is taking and is being opened from a browser, as you can see here, right? So here I'm having a Business Central open in Outlook, right? I have Power BI, my Outlook that I show you, Business Central is being open, and here will just the POS that I'm just showing that is being opening now. It's not opening because of, oh no, it should be open. It's just that I'm opening for the first time in my local environment. I normally use it in Azure, and whenever I open a POS, of course, I need to connect my printers and other type of peripherals. And in this case, oh, a very important, good question. I also work with, offline with whenever I open a POS, and also you can see that it is connected to a hardware station, because whenever we work online with a retail, we also work, let me just show you here a connector. A lot of questions today about technical. I'm gonna prepare a technical webinar for in the future. Believe me, I haven't actually thought about it. This was more for accountants. For those of you who are interested in accounting, we have just finished. Thank you very much for your time. This was the actual use of dimensions with the GL accounts. So that's it. Thank you very much. And for the last question that I received, yes, we actually work on the cloud with the POS. And here I'm just connecting my local host to then connect all my peripherals. I can connect, I don't know, printers, scanners, drawers, everything that you use with your POS. I mean, it's just that you can just connect the actual POS to any type of hardware. Let me just open any transaction. I have my POS open here, just as an example, right? And we connect through the cloud. Also, the same browser is open here. We have some printers connected. Well, I don't have a physical printer now. That's a problem with the demos. I don't have everything prepared for everything, for all the functionality, right? But let me see if I am capable of opening. Let me run as an illustration. A virtual printer. Just to answer that last question. Okay. I have a virtual printer here. My virtual printer, I'm just using this because actually I don't have a virtual pinpad as well, because I don't have the actual hardware connected to my laptop here, right? So let me just show you. These are all virtual. For instance, I'm going to print test message. Let me see if I'm going to accept this. Sorry, I'm having communication issues currently in order to present the virtual hardware, right? But you get the idea here. With this, we configure, we create your Windows printer or your Opus printer, normally from the POS. and with the specific drivers. Okay, let me just load everything. Once again, what we do is that we just basically connect everything to the cloud. And whenever we just, even in the POS that is in the cloud, we just start making sales operations, we just will basically create any transaction, and will be everything connected through our same tools that are connecting our hardware, right, with Opus drivers to the same POS, and working online with tablets, I don't know, any type of correct. So for me, just as an example, right? Sorry, I couldn't connect all the hardware instantly. I will just need to prepare for another session, this type of sessions when I have to have people asking more things with the connections in the cloud and so on, right? But for me, if I want to give you an insight or what type of hardware or your printers, I don't know, your monitors, your tablets, or this type of things, right? Of a different type of, basically different devices. Let me see if I can give you an insight here. Not in this part. Let me just close some windows. And just want to answer that last question. I just need to open my environment where we were designing for, well, different type of screens. For instance, this is my tablet, right? Where you can open your POS or your client for Business Central. You can design it, or for a cell phone where we have, I know this is not the most beautiful one, but well, here we just design your screens according your requirements, and whenever you want to optimize your screen to fit your necessities, well, in this case, this is for the actual a browser that I'm using in my laptop, right? But well, we just design for any type of a mobile, right? And here we can open anything, Power BI, the POS, your Outlook, so everything. That's the idea of using the idea of the cloud or Business Central with this new top-of-the-art technology. So we work seamlessly in any device. We don't care about the device as long as you have internet access, right? So hopefully that's answering the question. Any other question?